500 Doors, your real estate podcast. Speaking with industry experts in real estate buying, selling, planning, developing, wholesaling, investing, financing, management. If it's real estate, we're talking about it. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, an award-winning 6- and 7-figure real estate agent with over 2 decades of experience. Understanding real estate is a dream for many, that we, real estate professionals, have the ability to bring that dream to reality while building better communities and being the change we want to see. So, Casey O'Toole, leveraging his successful real estate career, Casey is the CEO and co-founder of multiple businesses, capitalizing on his background in data science and technology to develop highly effective lead generation systems and automated marketing techniques. He has helped thousands of realtors, loan officers, and business owners alike grow their spheres of influence and generate authentic relationships with highly targeted prospects by harnessing the power of no-code automation software systems and integrations. Casey is a regular guest speaker on top-rated real estate podcasts, webinars, and conferences. And we're going to get Casey in here because, you know what, first thing we want to do is, what is no code? No code. I think that's my entire life. I have no code. It's always on the fly. The squirrel is my code. Welcome to the show, Casey.
Thank you, Kim. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I am excited. I'm going to just pre-frame this entire conversation a little bit, folks. Casey is actually really good at figuring out where the gap is happening in your LinkedIn. He actually was one of our guest speakers on our recent conference, and I told him I had a challenge with a LinkedIn event and how to transition. And Casey's like, I know where your problem is. And literally in a 30-minute conversation, he had a solution. So, but before we get into solutions and before we figure out what no code is, I just want to hear, who is Casey?
Sure. I mean, I didn't really plan on being like the LinkedIn guy. It wasn't really my goal when I was in college, thinking to myself, I really want to learn about LinkedIn and figure out how to use it for my business. But I kind of stumbled upon it. I mean, I went to college down at UC Santa Barbara, which is where I live now. And I wasn't quite ready for the real world after I graduated, like a lot of UCSB students. So I ended up going to grad school. I finished grad school and I got a master's degree in data science. And from there, I started to get all of the standard jobs that people with kind of a quant background get, whether it's like business consulting or, Bear Stearns, whatever it might be, finance. I got a job at Gallup Consulting, which was fantastic for a little bit, but I didn't really love working in such a corporate environment that is so driven by numbers and timelines and objections. It was very structured. So then I decided to go to the polar opposite, and I started to work with a nonprofit organization called Hands for Others, and it was a different sort of environment. I had a lot of responsibility and authority, but it was almost like too soft and unstructured. So that wasn't a really good fit either. So I had all this education, I had a lot of experience that I didn't necessarily like, and I was a little bit lost about 10 or so years ago with my career. That's when my brother, Sean, he decided to invite me to join his real estate practice. He's been a realtor for close to 20 years now. So when I joined his team 10 years ago, it was a real kind of opportunity for me to learn something different, be my own boss, work with family, which was awesome. And it really kind of sparked an interest in kind of growth hacks, business development that I didn't know I even had. So I joined my brother's real estate practice about 10 or so years ago, and it was cool in the beginning, but it was hard. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, and there wasn't as much structure because Sean's not very structured either. And so he was getting referrals down the pipeline. He was doing well, but I was kind of struggling to figure out, well, Sean, thanks for training me on how to run escrows, but I don't know how to generate business. So I kind of started to have to figure it out. You know, I knew I had a good foundation next to me, so if I needed help, I can turn to someone. But the lead generation business development component, I started to figure out on my own, and I loved it. I had no idea how much I was going to love that component of real estate. So one of our first techniques of generating business was leveraging my data science background, and we acquired a very large list of confirmed homeowners in the Santa Barbara area, and we started sending out cold emails. And we had a home valuation landing page, and we said, hey, first name, I see you live at 123 Main Street. That's great. I have buyers that are looking to buy a house in that area. Wanted to see if you're interested in selling. Here's the link to see what your home's worth. And I used my background in data science and systems integration to figure out how to get really high open rates. We ended up getting like 1 or 2 leads a day from just those cold emails. And that's how I eventually broke into the Santa Barbara market. And our first $10 or $15 million in sales came from cold email outreach. Yeah.
So, okay, so let's go into what you do. So first of all, I want how many siblings in your family?
Total of 3. So me and my two older brothers.
Okay. And you're in business. So what are Thanksgivings like? Do you guys always talk shop, or is there like any kind of friendly competition there? I'm just curious because I can't even imagine working with one of my siblings.
So we talk a lot of shop. So we talk a lot more shop now than we obviously did before. But yeah, I mean, we've always had this close relationship regardless. And when you're family, what's kind of nice is, you know, that there's never any like real separation. So the risk of like losing a partnership, I mean, yeah, you can lose a partnership, but you're not going to lose your family member. So
Yeah.
that out is always gone. So it's actually really fun to work with family, I think, because you have no other options in terms of leaving, and you do talk shop, you kind of get along, you butt heads, but you're honest and open and authentic about it, which is kind of nice too. There's no secrets. I personally enjoyed it, but it's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone. Come to my Thanksgiving with my family. You'll see why it's not for everyone. But no, I think that's very cool because there's also a trust. A lot of times real estate agents, because everybody's out to sell them something, right? If you can't do real estate, you sell them something. So it's you get this trusted voice that you can bounce things off of. I want to go back to the differences between having a real estate practice and having a working for someone, right?
Mm.
Um, we are headed into, in many markets, some there'll be some turbulent times down the road. So knowing your why as to why you're doing real estate as opposed to working for somebody else, I think is important. So at the end of the day, what is your why? Like, why? Because you have the option with your degrees and your work history, and yet you have all of this on your own shoulders. So walk us through that a little bit, because I want people to learn why. I want everybody to rediscover why they're doing what they're doing.
Sure. I mean, obviously, I can only speak for myself. I think you really only have one of 2 choices, right? You're either accountable to your superiors or your bosses within like a more corporate environment. If you're on a team, you're somewhat responsible to people above you or around you. And when you're a business owner or you run your own real estate practice, you are responsible to or accountable to your clients. And so it's not a matter of, do you have to serve someone? It's a matter of, who do you want to have to serve? And for me, I've always, I'll be honest. I've always been a stubborn Pisces. I've never loved working for people on their agenda, being told what they, or having to do what they wanted me to do on their timelines, being pulled in 12 different directions from 12 different managers and 12 different projects. That wasn't my style. I mean, not that it's a bad thing, because some people like that. They like being told what to do. It's, you don't have to think as much, which is totally cool with me. But for me personally, it didn't work out. So I would much rather be accountable and responsible to my clients and the people that I serve. And my why is just the whole like abundance mentality. I've talked about this on the last conference as well. But if you have this abundance mentality going into all your relationships, then the default is like serving other people, helping their business. The more you can help them, it comes around. And so
Absolutely.
putting yourself in that
Absolutely.
circle, it works really well, for me at least.
And you touched on something that I think that we really need to unpack real quickly, and this leads us right into how you are generating your business and as such. When Yes, so as a real estate agent, at times in my career, I would have 40 bosses in a month because I was a listing specialist. And when you are running a listing and it runs for 90 days or 120 days, and you're going to do 112 transactions, at any point in time, you have 40 people asking you about their most important investment.
Yep.
But I think that when you do true qualified lead generation, be it in the traditional, non-traditional, online and offline spaces, and you do it right, you attract like-minded people. And it's really easy to serve when you're working with people who reflect your values and your all of that. So that leads me then into how do you do the online lead generation, the copy and such, that is authentic? Because there's a lot of stuff I get. In fact, what's crazy, I got 2 emails the other day from 2 different people, okay? But they were the same email. So it was the same copy. So I literally unsubscribed from both of their lists.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing, and it was a great opener, had me at the open, great subject line. So my question is when you're doing all of this, how do you stay original and authentic? And what are some strategies that people can implement when they're starting to put these systems in place?
Yeah. So I mean, there's this the spray and pray approach, right? Which I'm not gonna lie, I've tried it before, and I don't love it, because I mean, you get really negative responses, and it just makes me feel yucky. So there is that approach, and you can have some success with that. But I've kind of, through my own learning experiences, I've learned different ways to be authentic with your automation. And if you spend, it doesn't take very long, 5 or 10 minutes, like really thinking about who you want to target and really thinking about why they would want to hear from you, it goes a long way. I mean, it's someone I read something recently, I think it was from like a bomb video, but it says, like, don't ask yourself why they didn't sign up or why they didn't, but ask yourself, why should they, right? So if you kind of, again, approach it from that angle, and you're thinking to yourself, well, what can I offer this person? How could I serve
Wow.
them better? How can I put this abundance mindset to work and truly be genuine with your approach? And if you just go into any sort of like lead gen campaign with that kind of mindset, it will work wonders for your actual conversion rates. And then also your branding and your personality. You want that to be, you want to put your best foot forward, and you want them to perceive you in a very positive light.
You want to attract people who will want to work with you, because if If you're putting something out there that's not true to you, then the reality is you're going to attract people that are going to be resistant to the way you work. And it's just going to be painful. It's going to take up way too much time, because one negative client can take away time from, or one negative client experience can take away time from like 5 good clients.
Mhm.
So, you're far more productive with fewer than that whole spray and pray. And I totally agree. Spray and pray is for very large teams that have 30 different people and you can find the right fit for the client. Um, Spray and pray should not be for an individual or a more intimate team, because you really do want to spend your time with people who want you. I want to go through, you mentioned in your write-up no code. So walk me through what is no code, and walk me through that, understanding that what's one thing that everybody should do today, that if they're not already doing, that can actually shift their business.
I mean, I think people are a lot more familiar with it than they give themselves credit for. It's everything that you can do on a computer that would typically require code, like building a website, that no longer requires code, and thus a person like me, who's not a coder or an engineer, can do. So, I mean, Squarespace, WordPress, any of those websites, those are all no-code websites. My favorite one is Zapier, because even though I don't fully understand how to, from the back end, integrate these two pieces of software, Zapier makes it super simple, where you can just connect leads that come in from lots of different sites, whether it's listening to leads or HomeBot or Ylopo or Facebook ads, and you can like bring them into different email channels, text messaging, funnels, your CRM, whatever it might be. But you basically kind of like create a trigger, and then you can bring that data anywhere on the internet effectively. And that's how I use no code personally. There's a lot of other, you could build apps using no code, like mobile apps. You can do a lot of things with it, but my main use case is Zapier, Integromat, different kind of connection sort of websites.
So when we're looking at this, okay, so what could somebody do today, knowing that we are going through a transitioning time? And a lot of people have, with statistic average is 8 years in the industry, and we've had nothing but 8-year high, right?
Mhm.
So what are some ways that they can leverage some of these tools to help them maintain healthy relationships, even if they have to hold on to a listing or a buyer
Mhm.
an additional 60 days? Because it's funny, because in real estate it feels like everything's in a time warp.
Mhm.
It's you spend 30 days with somebody and sometimes it feels like 6 months, and
Mhm.
other times you spend 30 days with them and it's like, I just met them last week, what's the deal? So what are some solutions for these long-term engagements that agents have never had to face them before, are going to be facing, and tools that they can use to keep those communication lines open?
Hmm. So, I mean, like when I was working at Gallup, there was a big meta-analysis that was done, and they created a book out of it called "Married to the Brand." Um, it's a really good book. It's one of the more famous books, but it talks about the brands that survived the recession, or like the type of brands that survive economic downturns. And it wasn't the types of like the corporate brands that are focused more on like acquisitions for their growth. It's the companies that have a significant, a solid brand like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Doritos, whatever it might be. But those brands are the ones that survive economic downturns a lot more effectively. So, with that being said, I think one of the more important things people can do during this downturn is focus on your brand. Focus on like putting yourself out there more. Don't I wouldn't necessarily be clamoring for leads, like buying Zillow leads, buying Facebook leads, Facebook lead ads. maybe if that's also helping your brand in some capacity. But I would be focused on building out your network, reconnecting with your sphere of influence, starting up a newsletter, providing more value, showing your people that you know personally, or just from like a sphere point of view, but showing them that you're still in business. You're still like, yeah, a lot of realtors are exiting, but I'm not. Here I am. I'm doubling down. I'm increasing my network on LinkedIn. That's a big one. I'm posting often on LinkedIn. I'm engaging with people about real estate on LinkedIn. So those are some of the more actionable items you can do. Is be very apparent and present that you're still in business and you're not afraid of what's going on.
And you touched on something there. So you were talking about the brands that survived. When we talk about Pepsi, we talk about Dorito. Okay, so there's a commonality there that most people miss. Most people go, well, that's because they're super big or they're owned by somebody. But if you look at their marketing and their brand recognition, it always is through story.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is through story. So Doritos, how many commercials and have we seen around a football game? The community of the guys getting together, the his and her with the hands in the bag of chips. So when you're looking at brand, and I think this is really important, is revisit your mission statement, revisit your vision statement. Now's the time to get ahead and really understand the story of your brand. LinkedIn has had some new rollouts. LinkedIn newsletters, right? There's all these article opportunities. How does this benefit real estate agents and I'm going to use the word more organic, sphere farming or messaging. And I always organic is anything we do that's in the social media realm, online, and in our physical world. I believe that, buying the leads through Zillow and all of that, that's not organic business. So I just want to make that clear for people what I view as organic. I do view putting your story in LinkedIn as an organic way to attract. So walk me through some of the new tools that you think everybody should really be looking at and leaning into on LinkedIn that maybe not everybody is aware of.
Sure. Yeah. So I think LinkedIn is interesting. I think they're, what do they call it? Like they tail behind some of the innovators, but it doesn't mean that they're any less effective. So that being said, LinkedIn has been focusing a lot on LinkedIn Live because they've seen that being successful with other platforms. I personally don't use LinkedIn Live as often, but when you do, I think you do get quite a bit of exposure. If you tell your story and you're authentic and organic, they do push that a little bit higher. Articles, the LinkedIn articles, as you mentioned, is another asset that LinkedIn is trying to encourage their users to engage with. And in my opinion, I think the reason for that is because they're trying to discourage external links. So I've said before, when you do post on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that it's organic and native. Meaning organic, it's not just a keeping current matters article or something that you just copy and paste that if you do some quick little web search, you can see that same article all across the internet.
Yeah.
And then native is keep it on LinkedIn. So if you put an external link to a blog outside of LinkedIn, there will be a little screen that comes up and goes, you're about to leave LinkedIn. We don't know if that's safe. Be careful doing this. Like, don't do it. And then click it again, it'll bring you over there. So they don't want you leaving LinkedIn. And so if you can engage within their platform the way that they want you to, that is the way to get better engagement. So if you have a video, I would not post the link to YouTube. I would download the video as an MP4, upload it within LinkedIn, and then post that.
And that's what I kind of understood about LinkedIn is that if you're going to put a blog or any kind of written content, it can't be what you just posted on your website and Medium and Flipboard and all those. And so that's what I'm learning, is that some sites like Medium and Flipboard are okay with repurposed content, multi-use content. But so what I'm understanding is that look at original content for LinkedIn. So, and is that anything to do with, is that LinkedIn specifically, or do you think that has anything to do with like SEO, whatever? And I don't know. I'm just throwing out combinations of letters now that I have nothing know what they are. But SEO, I know, is like everybody's always wanting good SEO. It's kind of like, great pantyhose, I guess. I don't know. It's like I'm not sure what SEO is, but I know it's search engine optimization. But I think that's about as much as I know.
Yeah. So I mean, so it is related. It couldn't hurt your SEO by keeping the content native to LinkedIn, because there's a lot more keywords now that are focused on your industry living within LinkedIn, which probably helps the algorithm to kind of push you to the top. In fact, LinkedIn, I heard, this could be a rumor, but I think I heard it from someone who used to work at LinkedIn. I believe they actually lease Google's old SEO algorithm. So everything that you would do to kind of rank higher on Google, you'll want to do similar things to rank higher within LinkedIn. So when
Interesting.
when you're filling out your profile and you want to kind of go to the top of the list when someone searches top listing agent in Santa Barbara, you want to make sure that you put down those keywords in your headline: top listing agent in Santa Barbara, or top producing realtor in city. Because the more of those keywords that you can put in there, the more that library of content, or the library of data, pushes you to the top. And that also kind of goes to say that you want to fill out every single asset that LinkedIn offers. You want to be joining groups, expressing your interests, following people. You want to be recommending folks. You want to get recommendations for yourself. You want to basically use every asset that LinkedIn offers, because the more you do, the better it helps you.
And if you're going to spend your time anywhere, I do think that LinkedIn is going to be the place to spend it, because with the housing prices where they're at, with where the market's at, if you're looking at listings in your area, finding the professionals in your area and creating authentic relationships with them through, I think LinkedIn is a very respected platform. It's funny how many real estate agents I run across that do not have a LinkedIn profile, and they assume that LinkedIn is for just people at a corporate office.
Yeah, I mean, it's believe me, I encounter that too, and I talk to people about LinkedIn all day, every day. It is bizarre, and it's also bizarre to me that LinkedIn is still as effective as it was 5 years ago when we started our company, MyLink Solution. It's still as effective, and I think probably because not many realtors are using it to their advantage. But they should, right? You want to focus on your profile first, get that looking good. Sure, I mean, it is your digital resume. That makes sense. But once you have that, then you got to spend. If you're just starting out with using LinkedIn for lead generation, it's not just a matter of 5 or 10 minutes. I'd spend maybe an hour or 2 hours, or maybe a couple of days, like thinking about and strategizing what's your strategy behind using the LinkedIn platform. That's really important. Otherwise, you get confused, you get overwhelmed. Oh, there's too much content coming in. People keep spamming me. You got to take a step back and figure out why you want to use it. What's your objective?
Yeah. Well, okay. So how much time do you invest now in creating organic and native content to go onto LinkedIn?
So I don't spend as much time in that realm. I've been spending my kind of creative thinking around LinkedIn, a kind of objective planning with targeting audiences that I think are good targeted audience for campaigns, and thinking about creative scripts that could engage with them in an authentic way. And one that I just thought of recently, which anyone here can use, is, get this. I think you might like this one. There's a new filter within Sales Navigator. It's not that new, but called corporate headquarters. So or company headquarters.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
you can also look for where people live, right? But if I live in Santa Barbara and I work for Google, whose company headquarters is the Bay Area somewhere, then you can search for people who are work or whose company headquarters is out of the area, and they may want to move to that area where the headquarters is at, right? Or if it's out of the state. So if you live in California and the company that you work for is growing and they have a new headquarters in Austin, then that might be a good target to say, hey, Kim, I see you live here in Santa Barbara, but you work for such and such company that is headquartered out of Austin. How do you like your job here? How do you like it? I mean, are you planning on moving out there soon? Like, if so, like, I can help you out. I mean, I'm a realtor. If you're looking to list a home, or if you're trying to find another realtor in that area, I have a referral, like a network referral. I can send something out to you. There's so much that you can do once you have that information. And it goes the opposite way too. If they live outside of your city, but the company headquarters is in Austin, then you can like reach out to other people there and see if they want to be buying a house in the area. So there's ways you can kind of be creative with using those filters.
That is, and that's, and you know, I think the one thing that we all have to understand is that I hear from people at times, and I have been guilty of this myself, is that, well, I don't want to just send people stuff that they maybe don't want. But here's the flip side of that. And it goes to what you were saying earlier, right? Don't say why they didn't list with you, but ask, uh, uh, how you could have earned that. And the reality is, if you are not speaking, right? If you're not sharing information, how do you know what they do or do not want?
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
That's, I love how you put that. If you're not offering,
mm-hmm.
right?
I mean, it's again, you give it some thought. Give it. You open your mind to opportunities. You kind of think about what you would want to hear or see or feel in a certain environment, and then you go from there. I mean, one fun example is kind of the origin of our company. MyLink Solution is we were doing home buying presentations for this company called Procore, Logic Monitor, these bigger tech companies in the area. And after that presentation, I then went onto LinkedIn and I started to connect with each and every employee that works at Procore, Logic Monitor, these big companies. And my dialogue was, or my script was, hey, I'm not sure if you're able to make the recent lunch and learn that, but me and my brother, we just came and gave a rent versus buy analysis to your company. Here's the presentation, here's the recording, enjoy it. Also wanted to let you know, in case you are unaware, Procore is a partner with Coastal Housing Partnership. And Coastal Housing Partnership is an organization in the area which allows realtors and loan officers to partner with companies where the employees of those companies get a benefit, get like a 10% of the commission back towards closing, or a discounted rate from the home inspection. But it's a list of services that realtors and loan officers can give to employees of companies that subscribe to this organization. So, but most people don't even know about it. Like I would be lying if I said that everyone goes, oh yeah, I know all about that. Like only about 10% of the people that I messaged, I said, hey, did you know that Procore is a part of this organization? And that means I can give you up to $10,000 back at close of escrow. Like, did you even know that? And then they're like, wow, I didn't know that. What a great benefit. So kind of informing them on things that they don't really know about that could help save them money or help them find a new, whatever it might be. That's what they want to hear.
Yeah. So put some time into A, know your story and why you're reaching out, and B, what you can offer. Real quickly, let's talk community. What does community mean to you? What's your definition of community?
Community. I would say, I guess I keep talking about like these abundance thinkers, but I would
Awesome.
say it's people with a similar mentality that I have that is geared towards giving and serving rather than receiving and taking. Um, I think once you kind of start incorporating yourself into that community, you start attracting other like-minded people, and then just stuff just kind of comes your way. Opportunities come your way. So I would say my community of people is around a mindset, and it's worked pretty well for me. So yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. By the way, you have such a great smile. I have to ask, did you have braces?
I
Because
did. Yep.
you know
Yep.
what, you need to call your mom and dad and thank them very much for those braces, because you have such a engaging smile. You have a good smile, dimples, and I find that a lot of people don't smile enough, and and it's just that eye connection, eye making eye contact, right, and
Mhm.
smiling and again, that goes into that mindset. When you
Yeah.
feel good, it just comes through.
Yeah.
Um, Books. You mentioned one book. Is there any other books that you think people should be sinking into? What are you reading right now?
Well, right now I'm kind of in a podcast. I've been uh, in different versions of what it's not really real estate related. But I did think about books. The one book that I would recommend for kind of like business owners or team leaders or broker owners is the E Myth Revisited. Um, it definitely changed the way I thought about running a business. That was one of the best ones out there. Um, and then I mentioned Atomic Habits during our last conference.
I
That's always
love Atomic Habits. I mean James Clear, like I yeah, just crushed it. And I'm not a baseball fan, and I'm not an athlete in any way, shape, or form. I'm lucky I don't like trip over my feet on a daily basis. I'm just not the most coordinated person. But I love when the correlation and the analogies and everything are so visceral,
yeah,
and he's just incredible. And I love how he says we're not looking to shift 15 degrees today, we're looking for one,
yep,
because it's a compound effect. And I
yep,
love that. That's such a good book. Those are both. The E-Myth is I hear that one from so many top thinkers. And so, and the reason I ask about books is I think we always need to be fueling ourselves. There's a lot of garbage out there, so you got to counteract it with the good stuff. Um,
absolutely.
where can people find you? I see we have mylinkedsolutions.com right on the screen. Obviously, LinkedIn. Where are you at on LinkedIn? What are you under?
So I mean, you can find me on just search for KCO Tool is my name. LinkedIn.com/ the KCO Tool, I think. But yeah, I'm on Facebook a lot more. I don't use Twitter a whole lot. You can always email me, casey@mylinksolution.com. I like that. Yeah, but that's kind of my three main channels: LinkedIn,
Excellent.
Facebook, and email.
Oh, and you have a YouTube, don't you? Do you have a YouTube?
Yeah, I have
What's
a
your
couple.
YouTube?
I have a couple YouTubes. One, just search for Casey or MyLink Solution, and then I'm also building out SalesStream, which is like a CRM, like a customized CRM. So search SalesStream or MyLink Solution. Those are the other kind of two YouTube channels I have.
Excellent, excellent. We can learn everything through YouTube now. I need to fix a kitchen sink or sell the kitchen sink. I got all the instructions online on YouTube.
Exactly.
Casey, close us out with a quote, something that inspires you.
Um, so I mean, I like contrast. So I'm going to close out with the quote that the reason why me and my brother we can work together well is that we think the way, like, one of our mottos is contrast, and his motto or quote is, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And my motto or quote is, the smarter you work, the luckier you get. And so putting those together is a really good combination, because it's like I'm on the back end kind of figuring out these different things. And then he's on the front end kind of implementing and acting. And you kind of need both. You can't just be smart. You can't just think about, put all these systems together, but not do any work. And if you work your butt off and you don't really know what you're doing on the back end, you're not going to get very far anyways, or either. So you kind of need both.
And if you don't have the right mindset, folks, and you don't know your why, because people, when there's a lot of competition out there, and if the market is a little challenging, they're looking for the why. Why you? Why you? So look into your brand, create your story, get some intentional and authentic messaging going, lean into your LinkedIn so you can find people. This sounds really mean, but somebody who spends 8 hours a day on Facebook or Twitter may not be the right fit for a home purchase or home sell. So go where the people are. I love LinkedIn personally. And just, take stock as to who you are. Because remember, during the world took pause for nearly 2 years, and yet real estate agents were deemed essential services nearly everywhere in this world. So remember, what is that word that's in there that you need to be looking at? How are you of service? Because people and items that are of service never get outdated. So be of service. Casey, thank you so much for your time. What an insightful. I learned several things here. I'm going to go to my LinkedIn and start working on that one tip. I'm going to work on the one tip. I'm going to find who's in my community and how to reach out to them. But I thank you for your time.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to do it again. But yeah, thank you, and excited to see it.
Excellent. Okay, folks, that's it today for 500 Doors Real Estate Podcast. Why 500 doors? Because I believe behind every door there is an opportunity, and just 500 doors, serving them consistently, being of service in your community, can help shift your career to that next great level. Until next time, I'm Kim Hayden, and this was 500 Doors.
Thank you for joining us at the 500 Doors Your Real Estate Podcast. Be sure to join our Facebook group at Real Estate Success with 500 Doors. Keep on watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because we all know sharing is caring.